Hello. Hello. Okay, it is clear. My audio is clear. Hello.
Yeah, it's clear.
Okay.
And I can see your video. Sorry, yeah, video also. You can share your screen now.
Okay. Now you get the full screen
1 second.
of the presentation.
Yeah, it has come. Just give me 1 second. I'll make a formal announcement, then you can start.
Yep.
Good afternoon, everyone. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, I'd like to invite the speaker, Mr. Sivakumar Veerasamy, who will speak about 3 varieties for increasing the productivity and income of farmers. I now request the speaker to begin. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, madam. Welcome to everyone for this small lecture. I am Dr. Sivakumar, scientist and head genetics and tree improvement division. I work in this institute for the past 25 years. The institute is Institute of Forest Genetics and Tree Breeding. It's located in Coimbatore. The head office of this institute is in Dehradun. The name of the head of office is Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education. So it comes under the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So now I would like to talk about the tree varieties for increasing the productivity and income of farmers. So nowadays agriculture become very difficult due to various factors. So due to that, some of the farmers, they try to quit their farming and try to change their profession to different other professions. So tree crops are alternative cropping system which can be used by the farmers to sustain agricultural activities for few years to few decades. We have tree varieties for a period of 2 years to 20 years. So there are crops like casuarina which are grown for a period of 30 months. So within 30 months, the tree crops can be harvested. So any farmers who feels that their agriculture crop varieties are not sufficiently sold for a fair price, so they can have their tree varieties for a short period and switch over to agriculture crop again. So that way, I would like to introduce, because farmers knows that the crop varieties are important for increasing the quality and the yield of the agriculture crops. The same way, tree crops also have the varieties. So you can see in this slide, so in the left-hand side, you can see that the trees are not uniform. The seeds collected from your trees, when it is grown, so the uniformity, it suffers, and growth also, you can see that 5 to 6 tons per hectare per year only it gives, because they are not selected. So when you raise plantations from the seeds, so the uniformity cannot be assured. But on the other hand, the tree varieties which are selected will have the uniformity in their growth characters or the traits for which they are selected. So you can see in the right hand side, they are selected. So the yield has gone from 5 tons to 20 tons per hectare per year. Not only that, all the trees are uniformly good in their characters, so the yield also is higher. Not only this uniformity and higher yield is important, so the tree breeders or the managers can suggest the appropriate cultivation practices when the clonal varieties are planted rather than planting seed varieties. So tree varieties are not recently, few decades ago, they were initiated in India. So eucalyptus and poplar are the most popularly grown tree varieties in India. After 1990s, the tree varieties of these species were introduced. So you can see the uniformity of the tree crops here. So the selected tree varieties are cultivated throughout the India, especially in these two crops since 1990. So this is a popular tree variety. So grown along with the wheat crop in the states of Haryana. So again, it's a popularly grown tree variety in those states. So most of the places they grow popular along with the wheat. So in southern states and especially in the coastal areas of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, Orissa, so this casuarina varieties are grown. So there are two different species, Casuarina equistifolia and Casuarina junguniana. So Casuarina equistifolia is a coastal variety, while Junguniana grows both in coastal as well as inland areas. They grow well. So whatever you see is a one particular clone, potato hybrid of these two species. So one particular clone is grown here. So likewise, there are many tree varieties in other species also. So when we select the tree varieties, we select one tree after searching so many trees, like thousands of trees we survey, and we try to select one among 10,000 trees or so. So naturally the trees are selected for their good growth or tree form. So in case of pulpwood trees like eucalyptus or casuarina, the overall volume of the trees are selected. When it is a timber species, then we select for their straightness and height, girth, all those characters. At the same time, when we select trees for the fruit yield, like neem or any other fruit tree crops, then we select for their fruit yield characters. So likewise, you can just see this particular tree there in the picture. So that is selected when the other trees are there. So about 50 to 100% higher growth is seen in this particular putative hybrid. So such a trees are selected and they are cloned. So then the clones become looking like the same mother tree like. So that's why you see the clonal plantations are uniform as well as good in their growth characters. So in our institute, in the Institute of Forest Genetics and Tree Breeding, so not only the exotic species like Casuarina and Eucalyptus are being handled, we also handle many other indigenous species like teak, melina, Thespecia, Melia dubia. And these are the species grown for various timber purposes. And Melia dubia also is grown for the plywood industries. And matchwood industries, they require ailanthus. And pencil industries, they look for the varieties of kadamba. So we are developing tree varieties in these crops. Since last 10 years, we started working on these crops. And tree-borne oil seeds like Pongamia, Calophyllum, and Dineen. So we are in the process of selecting tree varieties in these crops. And edible fruits like tamarind and Artocarpus also, we have programs. And very important tree crops like sandal and red sandals also. We have programs for developing tree varieties. And the last one is bamboo. Again, we have programs. So since 2010, we started releasing tree varieties. Most of the times we had released in case of Casuarina and Eucalyptus, and till recently. And now we have also released clonal varieties of Calophyllum, Enophyllum. So we have released 5 varieties for their fruit yield. So these are our releases. We have released about 35 clonal varieties So they are all selected mostly for the high wood yield. And in some incidences in 2014, we also released varieties for their drought tolerance and windbreak clones of casuarina. So in the plantain agricultural practices, we can also put windbreak clones of casuarina to protect plantain crop from the wind. So apart from that, we also establish a seed production areas to develop seed varieties. So that way we also established SPAs in Kerala and Tamil Nadu also. We have established seed production areas where quality seeds can be collected and given to the farmers. We have a strong breeding program. Since 1996, we have breeding programs for eucalyptus and casuarina. So it's a long-term activity. So we have different stages of tree improvement. At different stages, we release varieties of these species. A seed as well as a clone we release. So see, these are some of the seed orchards we maintain throughout the India. So we maintain so many germplasm and the trials. And once the clonal varieties are released, so we give it to the stakeholders. So in case of eucalyptus and casuarina, the most dominant stakeholders are the paper mills. So we gave them for mass multiplication and supply to the farmers. This is a one particular variety, IFGTB EC4 variety of eucalyptus species, which grows well in the drier locations of Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh. So wherein about 15% more yield can be achieved in this clonal variety when compared to other clonal varieties in eucalyptus. So after 2014, we had problem of gall insect which devastates eucalyptus clones across the country. So in order to have resistant clones, so we made studies and we released 7 varieties of eucalyptus camaldulensis clones. They are also selected for their growth as well as resistance to gall insects. So they were all released. So you can see these are the one particular variety, IFGTB EC11 is a variety, so which is dominant when compared to other varieties. So other varieties are IFGTB EC6 and EC9 is also popular clone grown by the farmers. So every year the production of these varieties are increasing. As on date, about 25 lakhs of IFGTB EC4 clone is being multiplied and given to the farmers by various nurseries. So till date, this particular clone is grown in an area of 11,500 hectares. So when this clone is grown, so 50 to 70 tonnes per hectare in unirrigated area can be expected. And in case of irrigated area, so 70 to 120 metric ton per hectare over a period of 6 years rotation can be achieved. So the internal rate of return is high. So about 25% of internal rate of return can be achieved when we grow this particular clone in the first, second, and third rotations. So similarly, we have a breeding program for every species. So a comprehensive return program is present since 1990. We are operating this program. So as a result of that, we develop varieties and we release the clonal varieties. So that way, these are the trials we have. So this is a diagram, photograph showing that how the seeds of IFGTB are superior than the local seed source. So only 40 tons per hectare can be achieved from the local seed source, while 10 tons more, that is 50 tons per acre, can be achieved when the seeds of IFGTP is grown. So simply seed source is changed, the yield increases. So we released Casuarina junguniana varieties in 2014, CJ9. So you can see the superiority of this CJ9 in this left-hand side. So the right-hand side, the Czech clone, which is commercially commonly grown varieties. So over the commercial clone, we have planted side by side. You can see the superiority of the CJ9 clone. So about 125 to 150 tons per hectare in a period of 4 years has been achieved when we grow this CJ9. So same way as we are discussing, so the plantain farms can be protected by the windbreak clones. So we have 5 windbreak clones, IFGTP WBC 1 to 5. So when we grow these windbreak clones, the banana plantation is protected from the wind, and the yield also increases considerably when the windbreak is planted along the boundaries. So 2017, the Casuarina hybrid clones were released. These clones are planted. So initially, the commercial common landrace clone was released. Subsequently, clone CJ9 was released. Then the third set of clones are the hybrid clones. So in which the yield has gone up to 150 to 175 tons per hectare is achieved. You can see side by side, both the clones are being planted now. So these clones are given to the various nurseries for the purpose of mass multiplication and supply to the farmers. So they are being licensed to the farmers, and you can see the production of these clones has increased now. Now you can see that about 5 to 6 crore plants of these hybrids are being multiplied every year and given to the farmers. We can say that about 27,800 hectare of plantations in Tamil Nadu and Andhra Pradesh are planted with this particular 1 or 2 clones of IFGTB. So the farmers get about 60,000 rupees per hectare in a period of 3 years additional income when we grow this clone instead of the previously popularized commercial clones. So these hybrid clones, they give 60,000 rupees more revenue to the farmers. So this is a particular variety, Calophyllum variety. So again, released in last year only for the farmers to grow. The oil of this particular seed variety is being used as a medicinal oil. These are the different trials. So apart from these varieties, in the pipeline, we have many other species in which the clonal variety development programs are on. So Melia dubia, Melina, Kadamba. So the trials are in the stations. So shortly we will be coming out with clonal varieties of these species also. So sandal, now we are collecting the germplasm, and teak also. Even now we are multiplying and giving to the farmers. Acacia auricularis and red sanders. So the breeding program is in the process. So maybe in another few years, we will be coming out with varieties of these species. Yeah, thank you. So this gives an opportunity for us to really help the farmers to increase their farm income and continue their agricultural farming activities whenever they could not continue their agricultural cropping. They can have trees as an alternative cropping system to sustain their agricultural income for a period of 2 to 5 years. So whenever there is a low price of agricultural crops, so they can have tree crops for 1 or 2 years or few years, so that they can continue their farming activities without any big loss. Thank you one and all.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Sivakumar, for the detailed
Yep.
presentation. Now I will take up some questions.
Yep.
So, yeah, what tree varieties are best suited for enhancing farm productivity and income?
So it depends on the place where you want to grow. Actually, tree varieties generally are better than other varieties. Now the question comes, what tree variety, the species, no, the particular species which you want to plant. That is an important factor. So, for example, when water is available, so many farmers nowadays they try to plant teak as their major choice of species. So across the country, teak is the most wanted tree species. So they ask for the varieties. So nowadays, we are having a tissue culture raised clonal varieties of teak. Although the complete testing has not been completed, because it's the rotation period is 20 years or more. So although the testing is going on, considering the demand of the teak varieties, so we started multiplying some of the selected clonal varieties of teak, and we are giving to the farmers. Wherever the species, the land is not having much water, so you have other choice of species like Casuarina junguniana, is a, drought tolerant tree variety, and eucalyptus is again a drought tolerant tree variety. So those species can be planted. So most importantly, when you grow the tree species in an area of 2 or 3 or more area, so the market demand also is important. So where you are going to dispose the wood material. For example, even if it is a teak or if it is a melina or any other species, so the market requirement has to be considered, and depending on the soil fertility and their capability to grow the particular species, so they need to select the species and come to us for the varieties. So it's like the same like agriculture crop. So which agriculture crop you want to grow, so that is more important. Then once that is decided, then we can suggest the tree varieties, because in the across the country, tree varieties are not being released by many institutes. Only ICFRE, the Indian Council of Forestry Research and Education, is started releasing tree varieties, and that too we have released tree varieties, about 5 to 6 tree varieties species only we have released. So IFGTP has released Casuarina, Eucalyptus, Calophyllum. So these are the 3 species only we have released. Apart from the teak we are giving. So the species choice has not come much, but then we are working. So in another period of 5 to 6 years, we will have another 4 or 5 different species also in our fold for supporting the farmers. Yeah.
Okay. Next question. How can specific tree varieties contribute to the diversification of income sources for farmers?
So as I was telling, so tree varieties become the alternative cropping system. So wherever, whenever the farmers feel that they could not sustain their agricultural crops, so they need not put their land fallow for a period, or some of the farmers, they quit the farming and change their profession. So that is actually hindering the country, the reducing the number of farmers in the country. So that way, the tree crops retain the farmers as farmers, so that anytime the agriculture crops, they get the good price, so they can remove the tree crop and go for the original agriculture cropping. So these tree crop varieties support the farmers as an alternative tree cropping system. Yep.
Okay. And what are some examples of fast-growing tree species that can yield quick returns for agri entrepreneurs?
Yeah, that is a very important question. Actually, you would have seen our presentation, wherein Casuarina hybrids, they are giving about 150 to 175 tons in a hectare of area within a period of 3 to 4 years. So 30 to 48 months, you can expect yield from this particular variety. So I think that is the shortest tree variety we could develop. And I think even if it is cut at the end of 2 years, still you will get 100 tons per hectare. So that is for 24 months is again not much more than the sugarcane, which is grown for a period of 12 to 14 months, I think. So that is a shortest tree variety we can have. Yep.
Okay. And how do drought resistant tree varieties help farmers maintain productivity during water scarce periods?
Yeah, that is actually agriculture is synonym to the water. When water is there, only agriculture can be successfully carried out. So it's a very pertinent question. Actually, many farmers, they suffer because for a period of 3 to even few years also, they face this problem. So that's why we say that the varieties like Jinguniana, Casuarina Jinguniana is a drought tolerant variety which can be grown. Other than that, eucalyptus again is a highly drought tolerant tree species known to me. So I think these two species can be planted when there is a very drought area, or when the rainfall is, for example, 600 or so. So eucalyptus is the best species which can be grown there. To the similar limit, the Junguniana, Casuarina Junguniana variety also can be grown, except for the fact that Junguniana is little bit browsed by the animals. So when fencing can be done, so Junguniana varieties can be planted without much problem. Yep.
Okay. Next question is, what are the economic and environmental advantages of integrating high value timber trees into farming system?
Yeah. Yeah, that is actually again another very good question actually. When the farmers cultivate agriculture crops, so you know that agriculture crops, the rooting system goes up to 1 or 2 feet depth only. So whatever the nutrients present within that soil sphere is taken by the agriculture crops. It is not happening for few years it is happening for hundreds of years. They are doing the same thing. As a result, what happens? The productivity of the soil comes down, and maybe farmers they replenish with the fertilization process. They put organic or inorganic fertilizers. They try to put it. But what happens when we put tree crops? So the tree crops they put up their root down below their root zone of agricultural crops. So most of the cases, the tree crops they put up their root to a depth of about 10 feet maximum. So what happens? The nutrient from the bottom of the soil also get cycled. So they come up to the trees, and again the leaves again they go back to the soil again. So the nutrient cycling is better when agricultural crops and tree crops are grown together, rather than planting only agricultural crops in the farmlands. Yep.
Okay. And yeah, are there three varieties that offer dual benefits, such as providing fruits or nuts while also serving as shade trees for livestock?
Yeah, actually, there are some fruit tree crops we are working. Like a tamarind is one fruit tree crop we are working, and acacia we initiated a program. Acacia leucophylla is grown like shade crop in the drought prone areas. So in the states of Tamil Nadu, Andhra Pradesh, where the land is fallow and could not be planted with any agriculture crops. So Acacia leucophylla comes well, and those places it is left as a grassland. So they are grassing land, and leucophylla comes as a silvipastoral system. So the pod from the leucophylla is used as a fodder for the cattle or goat being reared there. So we have program for selection of trees of leucophylla. So otherwise, as a human consumption, we have this tamarind alone. And jackfruit also, we initiated a program. Jackfruit is used as for fruit as well as timber also is used. For both the purpose, we have programs for selection and come out with the tree varieties.
Okay. Yeah. And what agroforestry practices can students and farmers adapt to maximize both crop and tree productivity?
Yeah, actually, again, as we discussed earlier, farmers normally traditionally cultivate agriculture crops. Whatever the agriculture crops they grow, they only grow that particular crop, and they do not immediately accept any tree crops to be grown. So the common perception is that when you cultivate any tree crop inside the agriculture crop, so the shade is a problem. They avoid tree crops. But in some crops, it is actually a symbiotic in nature. So some kind of some certain level of shade actually helps the agriculture crops to grow better. So that way, any farmers must be looking for to what extent the tree crops can be grown along with the agricultural crops, the spacing or the tree species which can be grown along with them. For example, in even you would have seen the tea estates where the silver oak is grown in those lands. So it's a mutual benefit, and many farmers they grow pepper along with the other tree crops, cocoa with other tree crops, especially the coconut is grown. So likewise, there are many species, especially casuarina is highly farmers friendly or farm friendly, crop friendly tree crop. So that can be grown along with the agriculture crops, and it also nitrogen fixing tree. So even you would have seen the presentation. So the banana plantations are grown along with the casuarina as a windbreak clone. So both are benefited actually. The farmers are in as a whole are benefited. So they get revenue from the banana, as well as after certain years, like 2 or 3 years, they also cut the casuarina windbreak also. From there also they get the revenue. So in the meantime, they reduce the risk of wind throw. They also get more yield of the banana also. So that way, the farmer must look for the tree species which can grow well in their land, and they must try to optimize the number of trees, the spacing they can have in their farm. So always growing tree crops in their farm is good for making an intermediate revenue, as well as the nutrient cycling point of view also, it is very good.
Okay. So now we have the last question. Which tree species are recommended for improving soil fertility and long-term sustainability of agricultural lands?
Actually, any tree crop you grow, actually, it's going to take nutrient into their wood. So when wood is removed from the land, so that much nutrient also get removed from the land. Actually, to my knowledge, actually, presently we can say that casuarina is the best agricultural agroforestry tree species in southern part. In the north, you would have seen in the presentation also, the poplar is grown along with the wheat. So those two species are the best species which are grown along with the agriculture crops. The casuarina is a nutrient fixing tree, nitrogen fixing tree also. So that way they grow along with other, even rice and casuarina are grown, and groundnut and casuarina are popularly grown together.
Okay. Let me check anything left out. Yeah. How can government agricultural department support the adoption of productive tree varieties among farmers?
So the government, the agricultural departments are operating or closely working with the KVKs, and we also have close cooperation with the KVKs of each district. So we also conduct farmers mela by our institute. Every year we conduct farmers mela during the month of February in the Institute of Forage Genetics and Tree Breeding. So likewise, every ICFRE institutes, they conduct farmers mela, and we give trainings to the KVK researchers, and in turn they actually take this material, and we also work closely with the paper mills and industries, the plywood industries. So we depart our improved varieties to them, so that they can multiply at large scale and make the improved varieties to the farmers at low cost.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, okay, Mr. Sivakumar, I am not seeing any more questions from our participants. So now we have come to end of question round. On behalf of agricultureinformation.com, we like to thank you for the detailed presentation and answering all the questions in depth. And we also like to thank all the participants for joining this meeting. The meeting will now be closed.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank
You're
you.
most
Thank you
welcome.
very much.
Thank you.